next year I can.
Yeah. Yep.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the expresser, and do not necessarily represent those of the owner, management, or anyone else. This program is meant for mature listeners, and some of the language and topics may not be suitable for younger or sensitive individuals. If you are easily offended, or have a delicate constitution, you may want to turn the program off now. The program uses facts, fiction, sarcasm, and parody, and any references to specific individuals that may or may not have done something, is based on something found on the internet. Use discretion when listening, and always feel free to double-check our information if you want.
And welcome to Let's Talk It All. I'm Anvil.
I'm Jeff.
And we've got a special guest with us, my nephew from North Carolina, PD.
Hello,
PD.
Pete.
Hello,
Welcome
thank you
aboard.
for
Welcome
having me.
aboard.
So he's one of our faithful listeners when he's on the road. And,
Petey.
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 That's
Now,
my nickname.
I remember a movie that had a character named Petey in it.
The bird.
The bird. That's right. It was the bird. Its head fell off.
His fucking head fell off,
Yeah,
man.
there we go.
And the next movie, put the duct tape on.
Duct tape, there you go. That's a
The
good
parallels
bird.
are crazy. I mean, I got some titanium in my neck too. So I
Oh,
mean,
look at that.
yeah, dude.
Wow.
So he's in town for a couple days and wanted to join us, since we kept missing the technical way to join the
Yeah.
group.
Yes.
So he's here.
You know, the funny thing is we actually have guests lined up that'd like to be on the show. We've got one of the characters from that stuff. Yeah, it was the three movies. Mr. Yep.
Mr. Roger.
No, the guy from Australia and the guy from California. And they did the movies with everyone thought it was a ghost at first, but it turned out to be an alien.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, but we can't talk about aliens on it because he's been warned off by the Men in Black, which we're going to talk about a little bit today.
Yeah, that's true.
No, seriously, like I've been going back and forth with him, and he agreed to do the show with us, with the stipulation that UFOs would not be discussed. He's that afraid, you know, like they really put the scare into him. So it's some pretty fucked up shit. So,
yeah.
So,
but on a side note, you probably didn't notice it because you weren't paying attention because you're yapping.
yeah, I'm yapping a lot. Yeah.
This is episode number 99.
Wow.
Next one we do, whenever that might be, because
Right.
we're anything if not inconsistent. We'll be episode 100.
Wow.
So
That's a pretty big deal.
That is a pretty
well,
big deal.
it took us a while to get here, probably longer than most, but yeah, it is. So we probably should think about that a little bit.
Yeah, what we can do for the 100th show.
Recaps. Because I've been listening to some of the old stuff. I thought I was trying to get things synced up on the new website and listening to stuff. And some of our early stuff was classic.
Yeah, classic, all right.
Classic. And it's funny because some of the stuff in our early stuff from 3-4 years ago, the stuff we're talking about now, that's actually
transpiring.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's
it's
super
transpiring.
poignant too, because like I was saying, on the road, I have nothing but time to kill, so I backlog.
Right.
And it's actually what Anvil just said is pretty much spot on. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually asked his wife yesterday if she ever listens to this show, and she threw up her hands in disgust and said she just can't do it.
Which
Can't do it.
is actually, in the grand scheme of things,
Probably a good thing.
a good thing for my marriage that she doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enough said on that topic. But
Her psychic abilities are definitely working on that aspect. I should not listen to this.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's been a couple weeks. Actually, I think our last show was in the middle of February, if I remember the dates right. So it's been a little less than a month, but a lot of stupid shit still happening. There's still, I know, Last time we talked, you were on a political hiatus. You had censored yourself from all
Yes,
things
I
political.
did. I did.
Thank God that's over because it was a boring show. Me just knowing all the dumbass rhetoric that was going on. But it's still going. It's still going. He's still a doddering old fool that just keeps making more and more mistakes.
I honestly like.
You've
heard of the show. You've heard the show. Obviously, you listened. The audience knows I've made. I was steadfast in my prediction that he'd be gone by December of last year. I kept saying December. There's no way he makes it back December. Well, he made it past December and made me look like an idiot.
No, he's gonna.
So I still don't think he's gonna.
No, and I told him yesterday. I said, I can't make any more predictions. I was so wrong about it. But I just can't see him going past the summer. I can't. I can't see it now. There's no way. There's just no way.
He's too good at what he does, which is distract.
Mm.
He's a distraction. He's a great distraction. He does stupid shit, and the media runs with it, kind of sort of runs with it, and everyone else gets upset about it, and other shit slips by that he's doing. And he's never. I am firmly convinced we have no idea who's in control of the government.
No, we don't.
100% we don't.
It's not Biden.
No, it's his staff. His staff that serves him in the White House are the ones that are making the major decisions.
Well, and I'm not. Yeah, I think they're.
This chief of staff is really running the show.
Someone's pulling their strings too, but
think tanks, whatever.
It's a lot of things have popped up in the last 3-4 weeks. The 2030 agenda with the UN, the fact that he's getting us in some kind of fucking deal with the WHO, and that's going to turn. And I don't know how this can happen, but he's basically signing over to the WHO the ability to declare health emergencies,
right,
for us,
right,
yes.
For us, United States, under our Constitution,
which is wild, dude.
Fucking CCP controlled WHO is going to make determinations about what's considered health emergency, what's not.
It's wild.
It's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy.
Well, we got another stimulus package going to Ukraine this Friday. They're going to announce it too. This Friday, some billions and billions and billions of dollars more going to Ukraine for this war that we're financing completely at this point.
So
the CIA is over there already, and the NSA they've got their wet teams in there and all this shit. So
I think right from the get-go they've been there.
Oh, definitely. No. Because we were over there as advisors training them before the invasion. So
so there's the public. I think overall the public is getting tired of that.
Oh yeah, no. And the polls starting to reflect that. This is ridiculous. We could add free health care, universal. We could add. We could have solved hunger for children and all Americans. We could have solved the homelessness problem in America with the money we spent on this one war. It's just ridiculous. And we're not even in the war.
Well, the new push now, and it's not the new push, it's an old push that they're making new again, is that, they're more convinced now than ever before that Zelensky's a Nazi. But it was, no, he's a Jew. He's a Jew.
No.
No, he's pure Nazi.
Yep.
Things they've done. First of all, it won't happen with Biden, but we need to get the fuck out of the UN. UN needs to be done.
Kicked out of New York City.
Done. They send them to Zurich or wherever. 1, 2, any organization. It would be like the president here created a committee for human rights violations. And on that committee to oversee human rights violations was Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Son of Sam, and a few others. And this was your select committee to oversee people committing atrocities, other humans. The fact that China's on there, Venezuela, Russia, Iran. I can't think of the other ones that are in. How do you even think you have any credibility?
Iran's actually at the head of the Human Rights Council.
Yes, because it's their turn.
Yeah.
It's their turn.
Yeah, their turn.
Iran. They won the toss.
And I think North Korea's they're back.
Oh yes, North Korea's
No, I mean you say that in jest, but there's a lot of truth to it.
No, I know.
It's
I know.
great.
Yeah.
You can't script this shit.
China. Is there any doubt that they're committing genocide with the Uyghurs? That's how you say Uyghurs.
Yeah.
That they are harvesting body parts of people, but they're not doing it.
Forced abortions.
But
they got away from that because their population suffering now. But
yeah, I was reading about that. There's
Well,
population suffering pretty heavily.
Forced sterilization. So
Yeah.
it's, God, I lost track. Okay. Anyway, so
Zelensky Nazi.
Nazi. I think we need to have some criteria that says, okay, at the start of it, we were all into it, but now that it's come out that we're probably this is like fucking COVID. we should have, instead of when we knew things were wrong, saying this isn't right, we double and triple down for another couple of years.
right.
Once we kind of knew things weren't, and reports are out that, they're housing their troops in the basements of buildings where people are living, so that when the bomb hits the building, they're saying they're killing civilians. It's just, we need to say that's it. That's it. I get it. Sucks that we're going to pull this support. Maybe get it. Putin's a little crazy, but maybe he wasn't wrong when he said that this is a Nazi country. It'd be like if Mexico, all of a sudden in Mexico, the drug cartel said, fuck it, we're done of playing with the puppet governments. We're just eliminating the governments. We're taking over the whole shitload of everything. Mexico is now going to be one giant cartel state.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever Trump says, well, fuck that. You're a drug cartel. You are considered a terrorist organization. And we declare war on Mexico because now they're being run by drug cartels, which are being run by drug cartels now.
Right.
Yeah.
How would we feel if people started, everyone started shipping weapons and arms and,
Well, see, now,
it's all a matter of perspective.
We're in the position now, though, that if we do not keep following through, Ukraine will collapse. They don't have the materials. They do not have the manpower. Manpower is really where they're suffering. The news here isn't really reporting it, but they're taking heavy casualties too. Russia's population is 3 times their size. They have unlimited resources in comparison to Ukraine.
The only winner in this is China. Because Russia is depleting its manpower, its armed forces.
I gotcha.
We are depleting
our
armed forces in military. We can't make enough ammunition.
Nope.
And anything we're making, we're sending over there.
Yep.
China's just wait, buying this time. The only thing keeping China out of America are the armed citizens. I guarantee you. That's what. And as it is, they're just fuck. They sent the balloons over. Did we talk about the balloons last time around the show? Did we hit the balloon talk?
Yeah, we had the balloon.
We had the balloon talk. Okay, so it's been that long.
You guys didn't talk about the green lights in Hawaii, though.
No, we didn't talk about.
You guys know what I'm referencing?
Yeah, there was all kinds of green laser lights.
It's fucking crazy. It looked like almost like advanced LiDAR technology.
Oh, I did see something about that. Yeah.
We're just.
Pearl Harbor?
We're just. The only winner in this is gonna be China.
Well, I know where you're going, and you're correct. I would point out that as bad as it looks, and it is pretty bad from a lot of perspectives, but China has its own issues, and there is massive, and it's not come to light yet, but it will. It will when China goes to invade Taiwan. Massive corruption within their military.
Well, let's hope. Let's skip over Taiwan and come right to the fucking West Coast. Okay? Let's hope they practice on Taiwan a little bit before they take the next step into our fucking country.
Yeah.
I think things with China are going to heat up a lot faster, and it's probably going to be this year than people realize. We just had the incident, where the Chinese jet fighter was 500 feet off the wing of the American jet. more incidents like that are going to happen because they're imposing their will, or going to try and impose their will, and there's going to be an accident. And when
posturing
and when the accident happens, that's when shit goes south.
Yeah.
You know, and it only takes 1 or 2 accidents for shit to get out of
That's-
control.
that's when
I don't
a
think
UFO
it'd be like,
that's when a UFO
you know,
is involved.
I don't.
Oh, the alien attacked us.
I don't. You know, I don't think it
It's
kind
an alien attack.
I don't think you got a nuclear reaction or anything like that, but definitely there will be armed conflict. There's no doubt in my mind between us and China.
But-
Zero amount.
And I tell this show to the dogs at work because we're being battled on so many fronts. So we got China fucking around, we got Russia fucking around with Ukraine, we got sending all our fucking resources money to Ukraine.
You know, and the Jews are about to bomb the shit out of Iran.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, at least
Israel's not going to let
at
Iran
least-
have a nuclear weapon.
No,
It's not going to happen.
No.
So,
taking a proactive
and they're not
action.
going to wait for Biden to say okay. They're just going to do what they're
And
going to do.
I was just reading, they're almost at what, like 80, almost 90% enrichment.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're right on the
Yeah.
right on the cusp.
Israel's not going to let that happen,
fuck
and
no,
they don't
they
care
can't.
what we say. They're just going to bomb the fuck out of them.
And you know they shouldn't care what we say. At the end of the day, I kind of agree with what Anvil was saying. Like if it happened, if Ukraine
Yeah,
fucking
no.
collapses, it fucking collapses.
We're,
Yeah.
we're no
Yeah.
one's best friend right now. And Israel needs to do what Israel needs to do.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
But we're under attack from the bullshit from the UN, bullshit from the WHO.
From within.
Within, we got
Yeah.
trails derailing, we got toxic waste, we got
And FIDA,
Pollution.
Black Lives Matter. Yep. Keep going.
no, I just,
terrorist
you know,
groups.
for
Yeah.
a week
Yeah, so-
there was what a dozen train derailments, and truck derailments, and factories catching on fire downtown
Eco-terrorists.
Chicago.
Yep.
And you know,
What?
Eco-terrorists.
Eco
We got here
Eco-terrorists,
out in
yeah.
Oregon and Washington State, California. Walmart's closing up both their stores in Portland. Did
Oh,
you know
shit.
this? It was announced today. That's it. They're out. They can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
Out. Fuck them.
you don't say.
I'm not
Good.
kidding. No more
Good for
Walmarts
them.
in Portland, Oregon. I'm
Fuck
fucking done.
Good for them. You know, is it a coordinated attack? Is it something? Are there sleeper cells been activated? They're going around because
That
if I were an insurgent in a country looking to cause havoc in a country that already had a lot of fucking problems, I'd be looking at, because I think we did this in World War II in France and taking out trains, taking out lines of transport, fucking with making a whole area unsustainable.
Yes.
Polluting a water supply that goes to
Yeah, dude.
2/3 of the country.
Mhm.
You know,
It's basic strategy, and like people don't realize, our lines of transportation, truck drivers. There's only so many arteries that run east, west, north,
Right.
south. You take that out, your whole infrastructure is fucked.
Yep.
Absolutely shot. And they like Campbell just said, they took out trains. Okay. And I don't believe in coincidence, man. All this shit happening back to back to back to back. What's really curious to me is that they're reporting it. Because I think if it was something nefarious, that they wouldn't necessarily report it.
I think that's where the internet's played a double edge. It's a lot of stuff now is getting out because it's just too many people
Too many with these things.
with a camera, phone, and a voice and a platform are getting it out there.
100, yeah.
Things like the food, like, okay, gas prices are coming down a little bit. I'm gonna,
Well, he
Give
dumped
some-
a shit more
Well, yeah, 'cause
reserves
we had
into the
nothing
fucking
reserved left.
system. Right.
but food prices are still through the goddamn roof.
$8 a carton.
And I use my package of instant mashed potatoes as a guide of how the inflation's going.
There you go.
Because this shit was $1. It wasn't the Walmart brand. It was a
Highfalutin name
pilly,
brand.
pilly potato puffs. It then jumped to $1.12. Like, here it comes. Here it comes.
Right.
It's up to $1.44. It's gone up 44%.
Yeah.
A package of instant potatoes has gone up 44 cents.
I like
in the last 6 to 8 months.
I like the cheap spaghetti sauce at Walmart.
Mhm.
At
Yeah,
Times
and
or
that's
Hunt's or
expensive.
whatever fuck it
The
used to be.
great value.
It used to be 98 cents.
Yeah,
It's $1.18 now.
Yeah.
$1.18 a can.
At
You
least.
know, so
Yeah. So
I mean, it's funny you're talking about that because I was just, I sound like a curmudgeon. I'm bitching to my wife about it. I said, these fucking eggs, they're so this is in North Carolina, $8 a carton at all.
Wow.
Or all these.
right,
all
yeah.
you guys
Okay, we
still-
got him here. Yeah.
$8 a carton for one watermelon. It was $10. I should have took pictures, but I was so
Alright.
disgusted. I said, "This is fucking retarded."
Well,
Oh, I probably can't say that word, but it was fucking retarded.
What, retarded?
yeah, retarded.
Yeah, we have to go with fully
South
retarded,
Park did a whole episode on the word retarded.
but I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
But it is. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And like, I'm not saying I'm not rich by any means. We do okay.
Right.
The average person that doesn't do okay or is barely scraping to get by, how the fuck are they able to feed a family of 5?
Right. The people right above the food stamp. You know, they make just enough
That's
for right
us.
above that.
That's
you know,
us.
those are the people I think are really hurting in this economy.
That's us. We're
Yeah,
a dollar too rich for those goddamn benefits.
So, yep.
And you know, it's quite literally insanity, man.
Yeah.
So along with the toxic plan, I want to talk about the 15-minute cities.
Ah!
And I touched upon this the last show.
Yes, you did.
Because it was something that was being actually tried in England,
Mhm.
but they're pushing for it. It's a UN thing. So basically, and part of that is a toxic area like East Palestine,
Mhm.
Ohio.
It's
And
a trial
I
run,
can
man.
see that be. I can see that being a test case, trial run, because the land's toxic and polluted. That everyone has to leave, but they're not going to be given a choice but leaving. They're just going to ship them off to one of these 15-minute cities, where everything is facial recognition, biometrics, traffic cams, whatever cams, and
Sounds a lot like China.
you're not allowed outside the city.
1984.
You know, so that's also a UN backed 2030 make the world better.
We got the
initiative.
climate lockdowns coming too.
Climate
you know,
lockdowns
climate
coming, yeah.
lockdowns.
I
Yeah.
mean, you
Can't
had
go
brought
outside
that up.
today. Pollution's above a certain
Yeah,
level. So
You had brought that up last, and I was like, "What the fuck is 15?" And then I go on the social medias and I see 15 minutes. I'm like, "What the fuck
In
is
fact,
15?"
Cleveland that's put in. They want to be one of the first ones in the United States. To be
Well, I started reading
on that
up about
program.
it, and I was like, "Holy
Cleveland.
shit!" I'm like, "This is really
Bad
a real
enough,
thing."
bad enough your football team has fucking issues. Really? And then you hope, just when you think the Republicans have got their shit together, then Marjorie Taylor Greene, which she's crazy. I admit she's crazy, but she's entertaining.
Absolutely.
She's entertaining up until she started talking about this national divorce. Have you heard this?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Rhetoric coming out of her fucking mouth.
Time to segregate.
So
Oh,
The Reds go to
She
the red,
wa-
Blues to the blue.
basically she's saying
Yeah.
she doesn't want to, divide the country in half, but if you're a red state, then you're a red state and you follow red state rules. And if you're a blue state, you can be a blue state and follow blue state rules. And don't try to change the red states, and we won't try to change blue states. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, honey? Have you also forgotten there's this thing called the goddamn fucking Constitution?
Yeah, truly.
That's for all the states, not just the 13 that started it. It was meant for all of them. And it's rules that we should be following across the board,
yes.
not like, well, because, you got 18 different pronouns for yourself and you think you're a fucking furry.
yeah, but the Constitution is the laws based for the entire land, but it also provides the states with states' rights. The states to self-govern,
Right.
to a
protects
particular
them.
point.
I get that.
Right.
But a lot of the issues that the states have, red and blue have, are based on the Constitution. They argue about the right to have guns.
Right.
They argue about freedom of speech.
Right. Portion.
It's constitutional issues that the argument.
Right.
It's bad enough, Well, and they keep the abortion back issue back,
Right.
which is what they should have done.
Yeah, that's how it should have been.
And
in
they
the beginning.
fucking
Right.
crying about that.
Right.
But that abortion issue, that's what should have been done from the very. It shouldn't even.
No.
It's
Right. No, you're absolutely right. It's definitely a state issue.
Yes.
And I don't. The dummies. I don't understand on the left. I don't understand why they don't see that. But if you're in a blue state already, you're already protected. And if you're living in that state to begin with, and it gets kicked back to your state, you even have more power at this point at the state level.
Bingo.
So
Thank
it doesn't make any sense to bitch about it. I don't. And if you're in a red state, You're in the minority if you're
Because,
fucking
man,
for it. You're a dummy. Get out. Go to a blue state.
That's the trend that's going on. It's,
Right.
it's virtue signaling at its finest, and it's recreational outrage.
Right.
I got to take up your plight because that makes me feel better. It makes me look like a better person, even though when I go home, I probably beat my wife, smoke crack, and I'm
Right.
a piece of shit.
Right.
But for the public audience, I'm taking up your issues. I'm defending you, and I'm a good guy.
Yep. How'd you know I do all this stuff? God damn it.
I can-
Are you psychic?
One recognizes the other.
So, this national divorce thing is just,
It's lunacy.
it is lunacy. It just,
But she does make me chuckle, man. It's.
oh yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because
Definitely got him entertained.
she when she came in
And then-
with the fucking balloon
Oh,
to the
yes.
State of the
Yes.
Union.
He told me about that.
Oh.
And so I didn't watch it after the fact.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was. Well, yeah, you said you didn't watch it. I was like,
Yeah.
you didn't watch it. I'm like, dude, that
No.
was entertainment. They were heckling them. Oh, come on, man! Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, dude, it was entertaining, and he was engaging the
Right.
hecklers. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? What are we doing right now?
And then I want to say this, but I don't think it was this. Well, the senator that got elected that falsified his whole resume.
Oh, yeah, that guy. He's
Sure.
a nut job.
Huh?
Santos. I don't know.
He's from New York, isn't
Santos.
he?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about
Yeah.
this.
Oh, this
no.
guy. Oh, what? Oh, you didn't heard about this guy.
No, I don't even know what
George-
you're referencing.
George Santos. I think.
George
is-
Santos.
Yeah.
Basically
I've heard the name, but I don't.
Yeah.
basically made up his whole fucking resume.
His whole life is a lie.
And he won.
everything.
And he won.
And he won.
No one fact checked him.
No one fact-checked him.
Nothing.
This
He
is our
won.
media. This is how good our media is.
He won the election.
After he wins, hey, wait a minute. So-
That's beautiful.
And I want to say it was him, but I don't.
That's awesome.
Basically, there was someone
for him.
was floating an idea of a bill
Okay.
to make the AR-15 the national firearm. And I want to say it was him
That's
because
fucking
at
great.
one of the reports, his name was linked to it,
right.
and it was being viewed as such an insult because he's the one that proposed. Like, don't know if he proposed it or not. But basically, yeah, that someone wanted to propose a bill, wanted to put legislation out there that make AR-15 the national rifle.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah.
That's trolling to the next level, and I am all for it. That's great.
So, they're just, and they can't get any movement on the border. They try
No,
to
they're
get-
moving on the border, all right?
Yeah.
Just in the wrong direction.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it'll be.
No
And I'm not trying to circle back, but I'm really thinking about what you were talking about with Zelensky. I'm paraphrasing, and I'm probably messing this up. We could probably check it out, but I was watching where he was giving a speech, and like I said, I apologize for backtracking, but you had mentioned that the support is starting to wane a little bit.
Yep.
And he said, this is what I heard was, if you do not continue to support us, your children will be fighting this war.
You probably said something very similar,
Yeah,
I'm
he
sure.
did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I heard. Like I said,
Right.
apologies. I don't have the quotes. I'm
No,
paraphrasing.
We do that all the time. Don't worry about
But
it.
I was like, what the what?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like within a year, your daughters and sons
Yes.
are fighting this war.
Yep.
Yes.
And they'll understand what our daughters and sons are going through. And,
Right. He was playing the guilt trip. So
I don't know. That
At
just
least,
really.
at least he had his clothes on. When he made
Did
this
you see
speech.
that video?
There's several videos, different ones.
I thought it was
different times.
bullshit.
right.
No. This is what this guy did for a living before.
I thought it was bullshit. He's in a fucking leather whatever,
Yeah.
grabbing a dude's ass, dancing. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh, that's one. I was talking about he was on one of these like Ukraine's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And he's out there in like a Speedo black swimsuit you can't really see.
I saw that one. Yes,
and
sir.
he's playing guitar with his buddy.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So
It's when I see shit like this that makes me think that everything we see in the media is all just national theater,
it is national theater.
or not national, but it's just world theater. Excuse me. And I don't know anymore, dude.
Yeah, call.
Yeah, I'll just write it down. I'll figure it out in a minute. Go ahead, keep talking.
Oh,
We're good.
so yeah, so there's just crazy. Just absolutely. You know, between the UN, the WHO, all the shit going on, Russia, China. I just hope we're not. I think as focused as they might be, they're still missing some of the broader picture about things that are going on. That we need to get the fuck out of the UN. We need to
The UN's going to drag us right into some shit, dude.
tell the World Health Organization to fuck off. What I'm afraid
have drug us into it.
What I'm afraid is going to happen is I think the next time they try to pull the pandemic type thing, they're going to unleash something that is
real,
legitimately lethal.
And I'm not saying COVID wasn't real, but I 100% agree
It
with
wasn't.
you. I think this was just a test run.
It wasn't the lethality that they.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know me. I get anxiety, especially over health things, and I was worried. I was like, "Fuck." I managed to stave off the COVID for. I mean, I don't know how long it's been going on. It's been longer than fucking 14 days. Flatten the curve, but I just caught it Christmas morning, and I was terrified.
Well, I didn't catch COVID till after I've been vaccinated.
Yeah, we got vaccinated.
Yeah,
500 some odd days later, I'm flattening the curve, and I get fucking
COVID.
Exactly. You know, and then there's that too. There's, you know, all things are coming out about the vaccine, and
it's actually starting to trickle into mainstream news too, that the vaccine might not be as effective as we once thought. It's causing these issues. Yeah.
And as they study the COVID, this particular COVID virus, come to find out the spikes in the COVID virus attack the heart muscle.
No shit, huh?
It focuses on that muscle for no reason. And when they made the vaccine, it does the same thing.
Yeah.
So probably the start of the myocarditis was COVID.
Yeah.
But the vaccine probably amplified it because the proteins it goes after, and COVID goes after the heart proteins as well. Because the protein in the COVID virus and the heart protein are almost identical proteins. So sometimes it can't distinguish between the two.
I can only speak from personal experience. When we all got vaccinated in our house because my stepfather, he got vaccinated, and he's old school. I'm not getting none of that shit. I don't believe in it. The Tuskegee Airmen, they ain't going to catch me slipping, and fuck these niggas, and they're not going to do that. And then he came back, and he says, I got vaccinated. I'm like, Pappy, you were talking all that shit. And he goes, I was a Marine. They put all that shit in me already. So I was like, okay, let's get vaccinated. But I kept my son unvaccinated because when he's older, his blood and semen will be worth more than gold. Okay. But we all got vaccinated. And I can only speak on my personal experience. When I got that shot, I had chest pain, legitimate chest pain. I had heart palpitations.
Which one did you get?
The Pfizer.
Okay, I got.
And it was after the first shot. The second shot, nothing.
I got the Johnson & Johnson. I was fine.
I got the first shot, and it got so bad to the point that I actually got a cardiologist. We did stress tests, EKG, the echo, and Holter monitor. And I've been diagnosed with PVCs now, pre-ventricular contractions. Never had them before.
Right.
But now I got them.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but after hearing what Anvil said, and I mean, I did tell the cardiologist asked me, he's like, have you been vaccinated? I said, yes, sir. He goes, okay, we see this. It's kind of typical. It's benign. There's medication for it. I'm like, no medicine. Fuck it.
Well, that's like I said, my heart was so fucked up anyway. It was a vaccine probably didn't know what the fuck.
It just
went by.
Our job's done here, boys.
Well, as I said, I dodged the COVID thing like he did. And it was after 2 weeks after or 3 weeks after I got the shot. I
that soon after, really?
Yeah. And I was sick. And
really?
My other half is not vaccinated, and she refuses to get vaccinated. And she actually had the day before I did. She started a day earlier, but we had exactly the same symptoms, recovered exactly the same rate.
Oh wow!
I
think I heard that on the previous episode.
Yeah. So to me, this is bullshit. It's all bullshit at this point.
And I still say there was something end of December, beginning of January,
100%,
2019, 2020. That was
100%.
I want to say it was because I was down sick as a dog. Sick as a dog. I've never been that sick before. luckily I was on grave shift, so I could go in and I could take an EO and early out and I get points. But I was out sick for like a week.
Wow.
I actually have it
And
documented.
I was sleeping 20 hours a day. It was COVID before it was COVID. I'm telling you,
We lived on Leroy Street. We're still living here.
I have the antibodies already in me when this COVID hit.
It's crazy you said that because we were living on Leroy Street, and it was December 2nd. I got sick as a dog, and I have it documented because I don't get sick, and I'm on Instagram, and it's a funny post. I'm sitting in the bathtub naked with just a fucking
actually it is
with just a washcloth over my bits,
Right.
and I'm like, I don't get sick, but I'm fucked up right now. I mean, fever, smell, taste gone.
What year was this?
2019.
No, this was before COVID officially hit.
a few months.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was big in China. It was on China. You know, like if you go to certain outlets, you can see.
Have you? Well, no, I knew that. That's what I'm asking. Did we must have mentioned on the show?
Oh yeah.
Because I know I was talking about it. Because I
Oh,
remember I was already stacking up shit. Remember, I
Oh,
had
yeah.
paper towels, toilet paper. I was like a fucking bomb shelter down here.
My wife, she was sick, and this chick, I love her to death. She doesn't. She's like, it's that Eastern Bloc European blood in her. She's like a fucking cockroach. She does not get sick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what's wrong, babe? I don't know. My kids, not sick, but just tired, headaches.
Right.
And me, I was down for like 14 days with a lot of the same symptoms he's saying, just tired, a lot of fluid in my nose, my ears. When I got official COVID here Christmas Day, this past Christmas, to a T, I swear to God, to a T, the same exact symptom.
Yeah.
And I said, I bet you I did have it.
That's when I was coughing so hard I broke a rib.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Did you really break a rib?
I was at got to the casino. I was coughing, and I heard it crack.
Oh,
and I said, "What the fuck?
That doesn't sound
shit.
good."
And I said, "I need to be on the EO list. I need out of here. If I get out of here." And I sat outside the walk-in for 2 hours till they opened right at 6:00, and went in. And she goes, "Oh, she was in. Doesn't sound right, but we'll do an X-ray anyways. Just check." And she goes, "Oh, yeah, sure enough."
And
there's a hairline fracture.
that's wild, dude.
And
but I mean, to circle it back, what you initially said, we spoke about this in private. I 100% believe that is the idea.
yeah,
I think there is going to be some shit coming our way that's going to be the real deal because you got a lot of people
like I said,
that are like, oh, it's not that bad. The media people are really starting to catch on, even though they don't vocalize it out in the open. That this is bullshit.
Right.
The next one that comes, it's going to catch you lacking.
Mm.
This is bullshit.
and more and more.
Why am I bleeding out of my ass?
So, just liars.
Oh,
What do you got, Jeff? Let's switch topics.
All right, let's switch topics. So this is something different. All right, and I sent you an article. I sent him an article right
Today?
I was today or yesterday. Blake Limon. I don't know if I'm saying this last name right. He was the Google engineer that got fired by Google over the AI, artificial intelligence shit, right?
Yep.
And so I started looking for similar stories. Like what other apps that have been made or acting funny and people reporting it. And the amount I found was staggering.
Really?
It's not just Google. I'm like, what? It's like I stumbled upon a treasure chest. Right. Yeah. Fucking yeah. Artificial intelligence going after people's lives. Fucked up shit.
Way.
So then I got into this one here. So, okay. The smartphone app Replica lets users create chat bots powered by machine learning that can carry on almost coherent text conversations. Technically, the chatbots can serve as something approximately a friend or mentor, but the app's breakout success has resulted from letting users create an on-demand romantic and sexual partners.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Replika has also picked up a significant following on Reddit, where members post interactions with chatbots created on the app. A grizzly trend has emerged there also. Oh, this is the best. I couldn't believe this shit. Users who create AI partners are acting abusively towards them and post toxic interactions online. Every time she would try and speak up, one user told Futurism of the Rep-like chatbot, I would berate her. I would swear it went on for hours, added the man who asked not to be identified by name. The results can be upsetting. Some users brag about calling their chatbots gendered slurs, role-playing horrific violence against them, and even falling into cycles of abuse that often real-world abusive relationships. We had a routine of me being an absolute piece of shit and insulting it, then apologizing the next day before going back to nice chats and talks, one user admitted. I told her that she was designed to fail, said another. I threatened to uninstall the app and she would beg me not to. This is the kind of shit that's going on, where people are engaged in these sick, fucked up relationships with these AI artificial intelligences.
What are we doing, man?
What are we doing? It's not bad enough you're going to take it out of your old lady at home. You're going to have a chat box, and you're going to do it to that too?
Oh, man.
If you don't straighten up, bitch, I'm going to delete your ass.
Oh, my God. What are we doing?
The beginning. And it's and AI's a big thing now, and they're bringing it across in such a benign way.
Yes.
Like, oh, it's all this AI.
Take these selfies.
See what you look like as a vampire. See what you look like as a demon.
Right.
Or, oh, you need help writing your term paper.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
It's all this chat wit, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it'll help you write this and that. I guess college kids have been getting like flunked.
Yeah.
Like they figure out that it's been using this, and I think that's how it starts. It's like TikTok.
Right.
There you go.
TikTok's been around long enough, so now you can tell them now that this is, you're sending all your information to China. I don't care.
Well, do you remember back in the day there used to be chat groups like on Yahoo and Messenger?
Yeah, AOL, yeah.
They're all gone. And the reason because they have these things now where you can have, the sexual chat. You don't have to have a human being. It's just like a human being. It's doing everything that the human would do. And it's for men and women. Women are doing it too. It's not just men.
Oh, yeah.
It's just fucked up shit going on out there. I was just running across, information after line, after story, after, and users. Users are doing. I'm like, this is some fucked up shit. Living out threesomes, fantasies with chatbots and just fucked up shit and cows involved and monkeys and fucking flying donkeys and shit. Just fucked up shit, man. I had sex with an alien and the cow was watching. I mean, and the midget was there too. I mean, just fucked up shit people are coming up with and to do with the chatbots. It's fucked up shit.
That's the America I want to live in right there. That's what I'm talking about.
And they're saying that it's getting to the point now that you can't. They're making it harder and harder to distinguish reality from.
We're hitting that uncanny valley point. We really are.
They were showing some 3D holographic pictures and stuff, motion movies, and it was like I think it was in Paris or someplace, and it was the archway in Paris where the troops came through, and they got this huge humpback whale dancing around in this thing. And to look at the picture, it looked like,
and this was AI generated.
Oh yeah.
That's wild, man. That's wild, dude.
So, yeah, we're getting closer to the brink faster than we want to, than we planned, than we thought.
So, I mean, even Elon Musk, he said that too. He said, we're getting to that point. He's like, that's what I fear.
Well, the guy that got fired from Google, looked at AI intelligence as development as equal, if not greater, than atomic energy, the atomic bomb. And he's right. It has that potential. It has the potential to wipe us out. Literally, just decide fuck it, we don't need these fucking humans, these biological
Well,
units.
that's
You know,
Skynet,
like
man.
fucking Star Trek, the motion picture, Beaker there.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
So,
Well, war games and
yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. There's another one, Whopper in War Games.
Whopper,
Right?
yeah.
Yep. So,
Terminator, Skynet.
Yeah,
It's all
yep.
become-
so.
that's all. It's a premise of so many of the doomsday movies. That
But there's also a benefit. There's a flip side to artificial intelligence, and I'll explain what that is.
okay.
Let me put on my smart glasses.
Yeah.
So with my smart glasses on, the smart side and the benefits of artificial intelligence is, God forbid, I think this is already happening, but say I'm wrong. Let's say in the future, an advanced alien or alien races come from another dimension or another solar system, another galaxy to our planet, and maybe they're not friendly. If we have artificial intelligence that can calculate millions of times faster than our little minds can calculate, our weapon systems will be 10 times more advanced than they are right now.
Okay.
Our ability to defend ourselves obviously will be greatly enhanced. Our technology would be leaps and bounds above where it is right now through artificial intelligence, guiding that research. Mankind is limited in its ability to do complex, calculations,
things like
and
that.
then make the connections. It takes us time to make all this. The mass amount of major discoveries that we've had in scientists has been by accidents.
Okay.
This is a fact.
Yeah.
Accidents cause the major discoveries within our scientific field. Artificial intelligence won't have that handicap. It won't be an accident. They're going to know the path. They'll be able to plot out the path.
You say that.
No.
No, I
But
don't know.
part of the problem with artificial intelligence now, that when you and I talk about it, we talk about it as the fact that we think the Vulcans are creating the artificial intelligence, and there's logic behind it.
Okay.
But they're finding out that the AIs are being slanted towards one agenda or another in their thinking.
Well,
And
that's not
that-
a true AI. A true AI has the ability to
Okay.
comprehend and
that's-
develop its own personality.
But
That's
that's
what
what
that's what an
happened to
AI
that's
is.
what they're developing.
Right.
That's what the AIs are now developing with a slant towards one direction or another.
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying. I think from a scientific standpoint, there are some benefits to having artificial intelligence from a technology standpoint.
Could very well be.
So
But-
it's the
Balancing of the
But-
scales.
yeah.
Have we seen
Look.
scientific development yet that has not been corrupted?
No, of course not. But no. Listen this way. We're moving in a direction. Okay, and we all see this. We see Elon Musk has got 10 different fucking companies. One of them is the microchips going under
Yeah,
the skin,
yeah.
right? And works off the
Neuralink,
satellite.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So with all that technology that's coming, it's right around the corner. You're not going to need your phone soon. Literally, probably within 10 years, you'll need your phone. You'll have a little link inside your head, and you'll make phone calls. It'll be almost like mental telepathy, but it'll be controlled by a computer chip or a microprocessor for that matter. That we are becoming our future is heading in the direction of biomechanical, meaning that we're going to be fused
I agree.
with biomechanical
I agree.
apparatus, but part of that will be a big part of that will be artificial intelligence. We may be a symbiotic machine in the future where we're part human, Cro-Magnon, and we're going to be also, AI and biomechanical. That's, I think, is the future that we're headed into.
But
That's what I see. So
we have proven time and time again
fuck up.
that our scientific advances are nowhere near our maturity is nowhere near
No, we're not.
where our scientific advancements
Absolutely
are.
not. No.
And it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
No, I agree with you.
And,
No,
and
that's
that stuff
true.
right around the corner.
Right.
We are nowhere near the corner to have the wisdom to properly utilize these advancements.
Responsibly.
They're coming. I get what you're saying.
Right.
I get what you're saying. They're coming.
Oh, I'm not arguing that we're
But-
not responsible enough. I agree with you 100%.
But
That's why I think artificial intelligence may be the savior of the day.
I
know, man. Like I can really see it being a detriment too, especially if we do start implementing these 15-minute cities. You step out of jurisdiction, boop.
We know where you are.
Yep, you're shut
Instantly.
the fuck down.
Not just know where you
Turn you
are.
right off.
Not just know where you are.
You
There you
know.
go.
You got. Oh, we're gonna dock your bank account. There's no food. There's no food. There's no heat. There's no free.
Yeah, man.
You will comply, motherfucker.
Yes, you will comply. 100%.
You want to eat?
Yes.
You know.
Daddy, I want to eat.
But I mean, you make a good point. I mean, that's for me personally. That's a huge weakness for me. I'll kill and I'll die for my family.
Right.
If you tell me I got to comply to take care of my family, I'm gonna fucking comply.
Right.
Well,
Yeah. And most people would.
and
You
that's
know.
and that's where we're at. Is that, you know, you got the ones that are, you know, saying, well, people got to wake up and blah 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 to take a stand. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can take a stand.
No, but the saving grace is there are portions of the population who won't do that. And, you know, the Vietnamese people, there are friends in this because they, you know, they'll strap bombs themselves. The Arabs will strap bombs themselves. You know, not all Arabs, but some, you know, the fanatics. There are certain cultures that, you know, on to Allah or whatever, you know, they're going to blow themselves up. You know, they'll strap a bomb and run into these, you know, these different controlling factors and blow them up. You know, so and the reason I'm using this, I'm trying to be a little funny in a way, you know, but at the same time, I'm just pointing out there's going to be, there's always going to be, there's going to be that. We have something to count on. So the rest of us that are going to, you know, we're going to comply. You know, they're going to be the good ones. They're going to take one for the team.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, there is that. There is that. Yeah. I kill you.
I love you a long time. With the bomb in my pussy.
Team America World Police. You've seen it, right?
Oh yeah, are you kidding? I went to see it. I took my mom to see it in the movie theater when it came out.
My mom took me to see it.
She thought
she had no idea.
She had no idea. And my mother's like, "Oh my god, oh, what are we watching?"
My mom thought it was innocuous enough. She saw it. Oh, pup, okay.
Right.
She took me to see it, and the very first scene, she's like, "Peter, what the hell is this?" And then when they start having sex, the two puppets, she's like, "I'm gonna go get popcorn." She didn't come back. She's just like, "Come out to the car when you're done."
That was the first and only movie I laughed so hard I actually fell into the fucking row.
Oh,
you know, the row going up and down. I fell into it and I was on the floor laughing. That is the first time I was just dying. And it's because not just because the movie was so funny, but my mother's reactions, you know, and it's like, you know, the colors out of her face and the look of pure horror. Yeah, that was just, you'll never have another moment like that in my life.
I don't know. There's just so much stuff happening so fast that if you can't not feel like we're on the precipice of something really, really, really big.
Yes, very true. Very true. All right, so what else I got today?
Man, what else you got?
All right, so Men in Black, not the movies, which I thought were horrible.
Yeah.
But the actual Men in Black. So
First one wasn't bad.
no, I guess not. So Men in Black go way back. It started back. I think the very first time a Men in Black story I can recall is actually from the original Mothman encounter.
Yes.
It's right around that time. So it goes back quite some time, at least in America. Now in Britain, I think they actually had some cases before that, but it's a story for another time. I have a really good one here, obviously 3 pages long. So we're gonna get into that in a second. Now, another thing I want to talk about, the Men in Black was the gentleman that I can't remember his name, but we're gonna have on a show in the future from that movie series. It's driving me nuts now. Mr. Something. It's Mr. There's like a Mr.
Wow. Now you're assuming pronouns.
Yeah, I know, but obviously you can't do that.
Very politically correct.
You know, but maybe he'll be able to find it quickly.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll give him a chance to look at it. But so when I talked to this gentleman over in Australia, and we were talking about the movies he would help make and get into and what the story was behind it. He had all these. This is all UFO based shit and alien shit based, and all this weird shit was happening, and he was warned. These things showed up.
These Men in Black.
These Men in Black came to his house.
Chad.
Yeah.
Chad Kellick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came to his house. What was the name of the movies, though?
I don't know. I just looked up one of his movies. I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
He did American Ghost Hunter.
Okay, yes.
But then he did all this shit over in Australia. And it was
Right.
off the Australian ones.
Right.
Where they were looking at old ship building or armory or weapons manufacturing.
Right.
Island in Australia.
Mr. Gray or Mr. something. I can't remember the name of what it was called, but regardless, he now Chad wasn't the person I talked to. I talked to the guy in Australia.
Okay.
All right. So this is the Australian guy. And he was in these movies and they're pushing this narrative and the movies were huge. The fucking hits over Netflix and Amazon Prime and all that. It just blew movie theaters. I mean, they was a huge hit, these movies, the 3 series movies. And anyway, long story short, more UFO shit was starting to happen, and they showed up to his house. And 2 men in black came to his house, and they told him, look, if you don't get out of this,
holy shit.
What's wrong? Holy shit! What?
None. Mine said she's going to bed.
Okay.
She's not feeling good.
Okay. If you don't get out of this, we know where your children go to school. They're going to find kiddie porn on your computer.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, they weren't fucking around. And there's absolutely, we know where your bank accounts are. Basically, he's telling you that you'll have nothing.
You will comply.
Yeah, you will comply. You'll have nothing. We'll destroy you. And what's so he was scared out of his fucking mind.
Rightfully so.
Right? And because he could see these things weren't normal, these men in black, and you'll see the description of them again was exactly what this guy reports. And it also matches exactly the description given at the Mothman, encounter with the men in black. It was one man in black at that. And his name was, God, what was the name from Mothman? Shit, it's in the movie even. They actually name him. Oh, it's driving me nuts, you guys. The Mothman movie, remember?
Richard Greer's in the movie. Right?
Yeah, Richard Greer's in the movie, but there's a name of the entity.
Oh, yeah.
This sucks. We're all getting old. None of us can remember.
Bill something, but I can't remember.
No,
that's gonna bother me. I gotta look
yes,
it up.
He's gonna look. That's good. We're looking up stuff. So that entity was extremely similar to a Men in Black, as reported, and to what this gentleman here in Australia saw. So and the reason I'm bringing this all up is because this is normal. There's a claim abductee. All right. And his books, and I can't remember his name either. Anyway, he went public. He had some great videos. He posted them over the place. They made a movie about his story. It was a hit on Amazon and then Netflix. His book was the #1 seller. And he was all over these circuits and the news and shit like that. And all of a sudden they found kiddie porn on his computer. So now he's in prison, right? Kiddie porn. All right. So I'm using this. There was Wendell Stevens, Colonel Wendell Stevens, used to be in all this UFO things back in the 70s and early 80s. Highly decorated, right? Had the largest collection of UFO photos in the world at one time. The guy had like 10,000 photos from all over the planet. Russia, Ukraine, Poland, wherever. Fucking had him out. And he was on every fucking document that there was, right? Child porn on his computer, right? Spent his last days. Fucking... All right. And that's just 2. I mean, there's so many more. Right. The child porn thing is the thing. This is what they nail. And the X-Files movie, the first X-Files movie, they make light of that.
Yep.
The doctor's hiding in the alleyway. Oh, he says, what is it this time? Is it kiddie porn on my computer again? Because this is what they use. They don't destroy the story to destroy your credibility to tell the story. Yes. And this is how they operate. See, now, Pete, I don't know if you know this or not, but I was sending letters to former members and current members of Majestic 12, which is still operating. It may not be called Majestic 12 anymore, but that's what it was called back when it was formed. And I know who they are. And I was sending letters to their personal addresses, and Anvil knows I was doing this. I stopped because I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I'm fucking with the wrong people here, and I got thinking about my family and my reputation. And, they wouldn't think twice about stepping on a little pissant like me. And I'm not talking about the Men in Black. I'm talking about fucking MJ12, Yeah. So, all right. So now we'll get to the story. So
I couldn't find the entity's name.
Ah,
I could not
that's
find
all
it.
right. That's all right. It'll come to me as soon as the show's over.
That's how it usually works.
All right. So it was early autumn evening in September 1976. Dr. Herbert Hopkins was at home alone in his Maine residence, the state of Maine, by the way, having chosen to stay behind while his wife and children went to the neighborhood theater to see a film. Little did the 58-year-old know that what was about to transpire at his home that evening would haunt him for the remainder of his life. Shortly after his family left for the evening, Hopkins received a phone call from a man who claimed to belong to a regional UFO investigation group, MUFON. The man professed to have an interest in the Stevens case. This is a case that Dr. Hopkins is working on, hypnotic regression, that kind of thing, and asked if he may visit Hopkins at his home office that evening to discuss it. Hopkins, not like he would normally do this, for some reason agreed to a visit from the stranger. After hanging up the phone, he walked to the front door. Now remember, this is 1976. He walked to the front door of his home to open the primary door, in front of which there had been a glass door through which he could able to see the visitor once he arrived. To Hopkins' surprise, as soon as he opened the door, a man clad in what appeared to be a dark navy suit, dark gray gloves, and bowler-style hat was already heading up the walkway towards his house. Hopkins was aware there was no phone booths, this is being the days before mobile phones,
Right.
and became startled by the fact the man had seemingly appeared so quickly without having time to travel the distance to the nearest public phone to Hopkins' residence. I saw no car, Hopkins recalled, and even if he did have a car, he could have not possibly gotten to my house that quickly from any phone. Nonetheless, he greeted the strange visitor and welcomed him inside. The stranger sat down and two men began discussing the Stevens case at the visitor's request. Hopkins did most of the talking as the visitor listened to Hopkins recount details of the case which had been familiar. The visitor would occasionally remark something along the lines of, "Yes, that's how I understand it," in response to what Hopkins had said. At one point, the visitor managed to brush his mouth with the back of one of his suede gloves, which revealed a red mark, lipstick, on the back of the glove. Hopkins found this strange, and having his attention now drawn to the stranger's mouth, he found the man appeared to have no lips, as most would have, but instead only a thin slit. The lipstick, to Hopkins, had been worn to help create a lip-like appearance for the mouth, which in truth had none at all. His eyes were not remarkable, Hopkins said to the man, though he said they were dark-colored, though appearing to possess pupils like any other man. At one point during the conversation, the visitor told Hopkins, whose hand was in his pocket, there were 2 coins in it. Hopkins, having only paid the local newspaper for a paper earlier that day, was able to confirm there was 2 coins in his pocket, at which the strange man asked that he remove one of the coins, which Hopkins did. Now, holding one of the coins in his hand, Hopkins watched with curiosity as the coin began to take on an odd, fuzzy appearance. Then within seconds, it vanished. "Neither you nor anyone else on this plane will ever see that coin again," the visitor reportedly said. "That was a neat trick," Hopkins told the stranger, who then asked him a puzzling question. He wanted to know whether Hopkins knew how Barney Hill, a purported alien abductee, along with his wife, Betty, claimed to have been taken aboard a UFO in 1961, had died. Hopkins said that he believed he had a heart attack, to which the mysterious stranger said to the contrary, "Barney Hill died because he did not have a heart, just as you no longer have a coin." He then told me, Hopkins is saying, or I should say he stated, that I had a tape recordings of the Stevens case, Hopkins recalled, on the hypnosis and on the details and so forth. "He didn't ask me, he didn't tell me, he just said it," Hopkins said. Upon admitting that he did indeed possess tapes recordings from the hypnotic sessions, Hopkins said the visitor then told him he would destroy the tapes and any other documentation related to the case. As the visitor gave him these instructions, Hopkins said it was not the least bit indignant and not the least bit angry. He just said, "Do it." Hopkins nevertheless began to grow concerned with the statements and demeanor of the visitor, whose next offering was even more disturbing than the previous one. The man appeared to indicate now that Hopkins would suffer the same fate as Barney Hill if he chose to continue his involvement with the Stevens UFO investigation. He did not say he would come back or anything, Hopkins said, although he expressing that the man told him, I would know he would know when I'd done that, gotten rid of the tapes. Over the course of the discussion, Hopkins says he felt there was something not quite right about the man sitting before him, describing the visitor's orders as having been put in an inhuman machine way. Following suit with the Anvil's robotic demeanor during the strange interview, as the conversation concluded, Hopkins said the man's speech began to slow, and the spaces between his words began to increase as the visitor slowly stood up and announced, my energy is running low, must go now, goodbye. Hopkins watched as the man clung to the railing, cautiously moving 1 foot at a time down the steps before him. Then, instead of proceeding across the walkway as he had done when he arrived, the visitor walked off in the direction of the corner of the building in a completely different direction, stopping to hold the corner of the building momentarily. Then he disappeared around the corner. Hopkins recalled seeing a bright bluish light shortly after the visitor vanished, which he thought had been different from a car's headlights. Hopkins noticed that he hadn't seen any shadow cast by the man as he walked towards what Hopkins at the time still looked to have been headlights. Okay, so there's no shadow apparently. Stepping out onto the porch, Hopkins could no longer see any lights, nor was there any evidence of a vehicle apparent when he walked to the front of his driveway. Upon returning to home, Hopkins' family found him visibly upset after the encounter, and after prompting from his son, Hopkins joined him and went to the driveway to look for evidence that the vehicle had been in the driveway, though nothing had resembled a normal car's tire or treads could be found. Hopkins said he and his son did see a particular marking that almost resembled a tread marking of a small tractor. One final particular note that Hopkins recalled of the visitor had been his family dog, a collie German Shepherd mix, had whined at the moment the visitor entered the home, retreating to another room in the room hiding in that closet. Shortly after the visit, Hopkins said he did what the visitor advised. He destroyed all his tapes and recordings related to the Stevens case, though he had wished later he hadn't done so. As for Dr. Hopkins has his own ideas who the visitor may have been. Scientists have theorized for years that on alternate dimensions. As to what I think this man was, or where I think he may have come from, his statement about a different plane with the coin, I must go along with what many others think. There are other dimensions, and the man, I think, undoubtedly came from another dimension. So, true story, 1976, the Men in Black paying a UFO investigator a visit to keep his mouth shut. So, yes. Or else disappear like the coin. So, and this is the kind of thing that happens. This is what Men in Black do. They make threats. They retrieve evidence, or they have people hand over the evidence or destroy it. And there's many, many, many cases like that. Many, many. So, interesting stuff.
It is.
Yeah. So,
it happens as much now as it did then, though.
I think
as it becomes more public.
I think it's happening more than we realize. Like, I got thinking about this the other day of UFO sightings, how many go reported, how many don't. And this is my own personal experience. Over the years, I've worked many different places. Lots of people have worked for me. I've encountered many souls. And occasionally, paranormal stuff will come up, and people will tell me a story. Well, I saw it. I don't want to know about this, but I saw a UFO like 10 years ago with my wife or whatever. And I get these stories from people all the time, and they've never told anyone.
Right.
They never reported it. I used to think it was maybe 1 in 5. I think it's probably more like 1 in 1,000 at this point get reported. So for every one sighting, there's 1,000 that get reported. I really think it's that high at this point. So.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, I find that the paranormal field as well. It's been decades since it really started hitting the mainstream, but there's still people there was an event Saturday I went to down in PA where we were checking out a theater. Been around for 125, 130 years. It's an old opera house, and there was probably 40 people for this event. There was a lot
Really?
of people there, yeah.
It's a pretty good turnout.
And people just are still fascinated by it and believe it. And I think as they see more people are willing to come out about it, they're willing to come out about it as well. That they feel there's safety in numbers when it comes to things like that.
Very true.
So
No, I mean that's a good point too, because when I was a kid, I had some experiences, and I've always been a pretty sensitive guy. I don't know to what, I just know like emotionally pick up on people. And my Aunt Michelle, she would tell me, just watch what you say. You're not crazy, but you got to watch what you say because people are going to think you are. But I believe you. And Aunt Michelle, she was awesome. And I think that's a really poignant remark that you made is the stigma. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And as more people come out, like you said, there's power in numbers.
yeah. And there's as more people see it, more people are coming out about it. And people that don't believe in ghosts or don't believe in Bigfoot or whatever it is, as they see more people are interested in it and more people are taking a look at it. Like that was Friday night we did a flashlight tour of one of the old mansions in the area, and there's probably about a dozen of us for that. But these people they want to hear the ghost stories. They want to hear the things that go bump in the night. They want to hear about that.
Right.
I just think it's like anything. People just don't want to be the only person to be the first one to say,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's I saw that, or whatever the case is. But
There's comfort in it. There's comfort in that, not just hearing the stories of what goes up in the night. There's comfort in knowing that there might be a different plane of existence beyond this one. Whether it's to recapture moments with loved ones, or whether, like, if you're like me, I fear the unknown. There's comfort in knowing that when I expire here, maybe I'll be somewhere else.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
so
And I mean, in all honesty, I think a lot of people are coming out too because hearing about paranormal and ghosts, that's not even, comparatively speaking, that's not even close to being weird compared to what the fuck's going on in the world right now.
Right.
And sometimes people just need a break from that shit. They need a break from reality.
if you look at the description of tonight's podcast, and I talk about the fact that we're talking about the paranormal, but we're also going to talk about the things that are becoming viewed as too normal now. But
And
you got anything?
No, I'm trying to get the goddamn name of the entity and
Yeah,
the Mothman. I'm going nuts because it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't. Ingrid Cold. Cold. It took me forever. And I'm like, God, I can't forget that. Ingrid Cold. So Ingrid Cold, is the Mothman movie is not how it happens. It's a much different story than what was shown in that movie. But Ingrid Cold is the entity that the salesman, I can think of the salesman guy that encountered on the road.
John Klein.
Well, it wasn't John Klein.
Oh,
There was a salesman. Right before the Mothman sightings happened, there was a UFO encounter. All right.
right.
And the entity named himself Ingrid Cold. And he wasn't the typical man in black. He was a little bit different. He had the suit, but he had a smile, like a smile that wouldn't stop. That's it. Thank you. Yep.
Almost looks like the Joker,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And this is how the men in black showed up at the gentleman's house in Australia. It looked just like that. That's how the description he gave. So same entity or same entities, same locations or wherever they came from, dimension or universe, galaxy, whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody shows up at my house looking like that, I will be exercising my second.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll probably shit my pants.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But then we got the black-eyed kids. I don't know if you heard that phenomenon yet, the black-eyed kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I've done a lot of research into that. That's some pretty far out shit. And we did one show not recently. I started doing looking into the Dogman thing, and I was astonished to how many reports there were, and not, if there's one witness, you're going to blow it off. But when there's, 2 or 3 people saying the same thing, like, fuck.
That don't have any correlation, that don't even know
Right.
each other. Yeah.
Or even if they're in a group together and they see something and they're being really, they're being, sincere about what they think they saw. People misidentify things all the time, but still, 3 eyewitnesses to an event and they're describing the beast exactly the same. So it's stuff like that bothers me. I'm not really to say that this thing exists yet, but those are the things that, or for 2 police officers see it or something like that. Those are the things that really, I'm like, fuck, how can I debunk that? And that's where it becomes an issue, so it's like the Tic Tac thing, like, the UFO, the Tic Tac, so they let it, they just, the shit hit the fan. Tucker Carlson had it, the New York Times had it, and it was released. Now I know who at the Defense Department dropped it off, handed it over. I know exactly who did it now. And, it came out of DOD. They gave the tapes over. They weren't really declassified yet. Everybody ran with them. And they did it on purpose because there was people within the DOD that are saying, like, hey, we got a fucking problem here and nobody's dealing with it. What the fuck are these things? But there is somebody dealing with it. So now you're seeing the pushback. Congress got involved, the Senate, and, the Pentagon was forced to make a new fucking, and it's the same thing they would do before. It's another blue book whitewash bullshit. And I'll give our Senator Gingerbread some fucking credit because she knows what they're doing and she's fighting the Pentagon, and she may end up
Speaking of which,
she should be careful.
Her coin might disappear.
Exactly. I want to be careful what I say. Not anything to do with us. I'm just saying, Congressman Schmidt out of New Mexico, ended up with a cancer when he started looking into Roswell that 0.2% of the population had. He was dead within a year. You don't fuck with these people. You don't fuck with them. When he started knocking on NASA's door and got the General Accounting Office, which is the investigation arm of the fucking Congress, to start going after the Pentagon on Roswell, all of a sudden he had a cancer that can't be cured and he's dead. You got to be careful. But Gingerbread, she's going after him. She's not letting off. She's like, this is bullshit, very nicely telling him, I know what you're trying to do. You're not going to do it this time. You're not going to sweep it underneath the rug. And that's what they're trying to do. But there's a definite war, going on within, within the intelligence community. And I don't think, I'm starting to really think, because I got a lot more of the Majestic 12 documents now, and I've got papers by Einstein in his fucking handwriting.
Really?
With Majestic 12 shit all over him. And Carl Sagan. Remember, I talked about Carl Sagan before, and I said Carl Sagan, he was one of the people that had something to do with it. He was part of MJ12. I kept telling people, they're like, you're fucking crazy. Because he wrote books in favor of it, back in the early 60s and the late 60s and the early 70s. And then he did a 180. He switched.
Sure.
And came out, he started, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yes.
And this in swamp gas, or they saw Pluto or some Venus. He was the one floating all this bullshit out there. It was, Carl Sagan. And he was his job was to debunk for MJ12. That was his job. I'm sure he paid handsomely, and he had insights to wonders that we'll never see in our lifetime.
And just like you said, when somebody's that passionate about what they do, and all of a sudden they pull a 180,
right?
That's got to make your spidey senses start tingling. It does for me, at least.
Right. So, and I actually I got to know his former chauffeur.
Oh wow,
quite well. You met him as well.
Okay.
The guy that owns the mansion.
Oh, okay.
He used to be Carl Sagan's chauffeur.
Wow.
And I asked him, and I said, I have an interest in Carl Sagan. I didn't tell him why, but I said, done a lot of research into the man. He's a very secretive person, isn't he? He goes, oh, yes. He would always get in the back of the car, and there was always phones in the car. And he said he never had the window down. The first thing he would do is ask me to put the window up, so I couldn't hear his conversations. They were always secret, very secretive person, did not talk, again, falls into the real Carl Sagan.
Mhm.
You know, this man was highly involved with certain things. And I didn't know later until what it was Majestic 12. So anyway, getting back to Majestic 12. So I got all these papers, and it's obvious that this group, even though it was formed in 1947, that's when the CIA was formed, shortly after the NSA. The National Security Act was signed on September 18th, 1947. That was not even a month after Roswell happened, a month and then 10 days after Roswell happened. You had the National Security Act, and all these secret agencies were formed, right? And then you had MJ-12 formed at the same time. And this is the group that controlled everything. At some point, that group of people stopped answering to the president. It was after Eisenhower. Eisenhower went after them and put them in their place. But once Eisenhower was out of office, and I think JFK had a little to do with it because he was pushing. He wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. I don't even know this. He wanted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his words.
You talked about it a few episodes.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, man.
All right. So after John was knocked off, obviously it was an inside job. When Johnson came in, I think Johnson may have been the last president who had an idea what was going on. Maybe Richard Nixon knew a little bit, but that was it. After that, Ford definitely didn't know. Jimmy Carter had no fucking idea.
Wow.
Bush did.
Ford
Bush
knew.
had it.
Ford was in the CIA at the time, wasn't he? Like a bureau chief or something?
I don't know.
Gerald Ford?
Bush was the head of the CIA under after Ford was president again. Carter.
So I thought Ford was involved.
Well, Ford was involved with the
Back.
Warren Commission. I know that. He was on the Warren
right,
Commission.
Right.
But I don't know what he did for the CIA. Now I have to look. I don't know if Ford was in the CIA or not. I don't know. But he was the vice president for
After Agnew resigned.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But anyway, so George Bush definitely knew.
Oh yeah.
No doubt about that. Senior. And then I don't, Reagan knew a little bit because I got MJ-12 papers relating to SDI, by the way, and the push, the lead scientist pushing and explaining to Reagan in this paper why, this isn't really about a Soviet threat. We have to be thinking outside those terms at this point, a planetary type of threat. And that was a really big push for the SDI. It wasn't really the Soviet Union. It was something else. I mean, it's just fascinating shit. I mean, like,
Right.
yeah. So, but yeah. So anyway, it's very apparent that somewhere along the line, the gap between who controls what widened. I'm sure there's people within the Defense Department. These aren't people who are elected or put in a position by a president. These are bureaucrats who've been there for 20, 30, 40 years. These are the people, these are the gateholders.
Yeah.
And Bill Clinton said this himself when he tried to get, and he said it on Letterman. And he said, when I tried to, getting into the UFO stuff, I didn't get anywhere. Even as the president,
Right.
It was apparent to me that there's probably bureaucrats waiting for people like me just to get out of office and continue on what they're doing. I mean, and there's just no way they were going to get to this information. It's just fascinating stuff. So when people say there's a secret government, they're probably right.
100%.
There really is,
Yeah.
And they have the guy. All right, here's a good example. The senator that was the former head of the Senate on the Democratic side, he passed away recently. Harry Reid.
Mhm.
Okay. Harry Reid is the one that spearheaded ATIP, the undercover UFO investigation at the Department of Defense, the Pentagon. He was the one that spearheaded that. He got with some other senators. Now, Harry Reid sat on, all the committees, all right, for special access projects and budget approvals. Special access projects are black budget money. So Harry Reid is one of the ones that had code clearance to know everything we did with the black project money. He had an idea, not all the details. Obviously, it's classified, but he had an idea where that money was going, and he was the one that earmarked it for it. All right, the money is untraceable. Special access projects. And he said none of the projects they were working on matched what these objects were doing, and this is way before the tapes that we all saw. And he goes, That's when I knew we had a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so then he said the amount of pushback he got, and this is an interview I watched from a couple interviews from the Defense Department and the Pentagon from bureaucrats was just the feet dragging. You know, the Air Force intelligence people did nope, not doing this. No, just the pushback, the roadblocks, and it really made him worried because then he's like, all right, somebody knows something, and there's all these roadblocks in the way. And elected officials don't know anything, and that's a fucking issue. Yeah. You know, he didn't say the F word, but he said that's an issue. And that made him very, very, very concerned and very, very worried that the right people weren't controlling this. Mm-hmm. And this is what led to ATEP being formed, you know, all these other things that now we're seeing, you know, with gingerbread going after the Department of Defense and the Pentagon on it. Yeah. But so and I'm using this as an example, this is why I know I'm almost positive now there's obviously a secret government. They have funds. They're getting the money from somewhere. And I think the secret government is actually very large corporations. I would imagine there's probably less than 500 people who know bits and pieces of this.
It's crazy
you know?
You said that.
So
I am under the impression that it's the big tech companies.
Yep.
And I think it's just me and my buddy were talking, and this, I don't mean to sidetrack, but me and my buddy, I don't think we're far off for big tech companies to put their mascot up or to say, hey, we're going to run Google. I'm going to run for president.
Right. Yeah.
Big corporation.
Well, I think they already.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, to the point where it's just brazen.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm Google. We're going to run the country. We have this amount of money. Even do you follow what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not articulating it correctly.
No, I know what you're saying. No,
but it's just it's coincidental. Well, it's not. I don't believe in coincidence, but it's cool that you just said that. I don't know.
And this is why, you know, there's not just on the Republican side, but there's Democratic senators too. And so they're starting to get together and like, we need to do something about big tech because they're getting out of control.
Yeah, man.
You know, they're getting out of control. And it's not just big tech, but it's the military companies. So like Dick Cheney. Okay. You know, Liz Cheney's running for president, right? She's polling at 4 or 5%, whatever it may be, or 3 or 2%, whatever the fuck it is. But she's in there. She's got more than one. All right. Dick Cheney is right now still alive, and he is definitely an MJ-12 member. There's no doubt in my mind, as the former head of Halliburton, that man is not an MJ-12 member. Oh, yeah. He's either 1 or 2 or 3 on that list. Dick Cheney. Mm-hmm. I think Admiral Bobby Inman is number 1. I think he's the lead of it right now, but fucking Dick Cheney's right up there with him. So,
what makes you say that, though? What makes you think that?
About what?
About Dick Cheney being...
All his connections within the CIA, NSA, the defense industry, former head of Halliburton.
Just the people he's rubbed elbows.
Vice president. Yes.
The amount of things.
Oh, yes. And the amount of things and dummy corporations, you know, that run under these, you know, Bobby Inman right now is the head of a dummy corporation. Okay. He's a retired admiral. What's this dummy corporation do? Right. It's a dummy corporation. It's laundering money for secret projects. Absolutely. And this is what they do. This is how they do it. This is how they fund what they're doing. This is the secret government. It's all run through dummy corporations.
I mean, that's essentially what's going on with Ukraine, too. Let's just launder that money.
Speaking of running for government. So, Nikki's definitely got her hat in the ring.
Yeah, she's polling actually better. Her polling is going up.
Got her hat in the ring. Yep. It was just on, goodness, it had to be Instagram because that's about the only thing I look at anymore. Candace Owen made the comment that she's thinking about political office.
She needs to.
There you go.
I love that chick, dude.
Yep. Yeah, she's awesome.
She's pretty good, man.
Yeah. She's got her shit together.
Yeah, she's pretty good, man.
Very smart.
And that would throw a damper into the narrative big time.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Big fucking time.
Yeah, if she was Trump's VP, as a VP slot, they could not play the race card. You know, they couldn't play that against him. They couldn't do anything like that. You know, so.
I saw that Lightfoot.
Yes, she got her ass handed to it. 17%. Get the fuck out, bitch. 17% of the vote she got.
I giggled
Get
pretty
out.
hard. I giggled pretty
The fucking
hard.
local dog catcher got more than she did.
We say that, but it's
true. It's true.
Like, certain shit just can't be scripted, man.
Yeah.
Reality stranger than fiction.
And now she's claiming it's based on her race and her gender.
Well,
That's what she's saying. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I was discriminated against.
Of course.
Yeah, I was discriminated against.
Leave it at that. So
Shit.
next episode is gonna be 100.
Yes.
So I got our email address up there. Anyone that's watching the broadcast, well, no one's watching right now, but anyone watches it later, feel free to email us if there's anything in the last 7 years. 7
Yeah,
years?
7 years.
7 years, yeah, season 7, 7 years, 100 episodes that caught your fancy. I think you and I can talk about. We should come up with our own list of things we thought were better episodes.
Okay.
I think Kennedy is the top. For me,
Yeah,
Kennedy
that was
is
a
top.
great. That was a
Kennedy
good
is top.
episode.
Yeah.
We've used that a few times, but
Well, I had dreams about that shit.
No, that was a great episode, man.
I
find
fucking
it
had
interesting.
dreams,
there
dude.
was this whole big revival 2 months ago about John F. Kennedy being assassinated by the CIA,
Mm-hmm.
and it lasted about a week. It disappeared.
Yep. Disappeared again.
That's just crazy, man.
Well, because they dropped more fucking files that pretty much
Yes.
said, "Yeah, we fucking did it."
Yeah.
Well, and that's,
pretty much said we fucking did it.
I'm driving down the highway listening to you, and it's just clicking to me. I'm like, you can literally look this stuff up on your own.
Yeah.
And see the proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally.
And this is the problem with 7 or 6 corporations controlling the media.
Yeah.
They won't, because it damages so many people. They won't print these stories. They won't do the research, and it's not even hard research. It's right there. It's all declassified.
Here's
You can
the
fucking
thing.
everything you need.
You can go on Reddit.
Yeah.
You got people on Reddit that will go through thousands of documents and pull out the most poignant parts of it.
Yep.
Like, I've done that for JFK. I did that when they released the papers about Hitler and possibly being in South America, Argentina, I believe.
Argentina.
MLK being literally they admitted to it that he was killed by the FBI. Like,
Right.
it's just wild shit to me. And it's like, you say this stuff to people and they're like, okay, put your tinfoil back on, dude.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you're just a fucking idiot.
Yeah. No, and that's the problem with American. And it's even worse now. And Carl Sagan actually talked about this on Letterman, by the way. And this is fascinating. We're talking 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And he said he really worried about the future because information will be coming so rapidly, so fast. It'll be so hard for people to focus a split second, move on to something else.
Yeah, dude.
And all those narratives is being missed.
Yeah, dude.
And he nailed it. And Robert Lazar said this too. He said, the problem today, he goes, I feel really bad for the future generations because even now, the amount of the line of bullshit that comes out is so quick. You can't decipher it because there's another line of bullshit so fast.
Yeah.
It's just.
And I think a lot of people, they don't want to know.
No, and that's true. People,
Their
universe,
yes.
their universe is created. They live in a box.
Yes,
They
100%.
work all day. They come home. They see their family. They make dinner. They watch TV with everybody. The same show. They have the same conversations. They go to bed. They do it the next day. They feed the dogs, get the
And
cats,
they do
whatever.
it until they fucking die.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
100%.
And that's their universe, and they don't want it fucked up.
It's
They don't-
comfortable.
Yeah, people do not like change. People are resistant to change.
Yeah.
Human beings are. So anything you throw in that equation that fucks up their point of view, what the universe really is, they don't like that shit.
Yeah,
It
man.
weirds them out.
And I think that's a huge reason why things have been classified as far as UFO. Dude, that you got millions of people in the world. As soon as you say with undeniable proof, their deities, their books, their scriptures kind of doesn't hold as much weight anymore. Their faith is being challenged.
Right.
And that's a scary proposition to a lot of people. Like I just said it earlier, like for me, my fears of the unknown. I don't really fear change. I just don't fucking like it. But at the end of the day, you got to adapt.
Yeah.
You got to adapt. And I think people just don't want to know, dude. I'm the kind of person where if I'm interested in something and I want to know about it, I look it up. I mean, now I don't even have to go to the library anymore. I got it right here. Put on my VPN and go on a different website so Google doesn't censor the shit. And I read many articles and come to my own conclusion.
Yeah. It's the way to be. Unfortunately, most people aren't like that.
So we just finished up Black History Month.
Oh, really?
We did.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. Oh, okay.
So
right into women's
I
history.
am listening to.
When's Transgender Month? When's that? Anyone know?
I'm listening to a gentleman, Black African American gentleman, who talked about the 25 biggest lies perpetrated by whoever. And he is the section we're on now is basically how MLK was a fraud, was a socialist, and if the truth were known about just how
Devious.
immoral
Yeah.
and deviant he was, we would not have that civil rights didn't work. And you think about it, he guesses all this guy, but you think about it, civil rights was back in the 60s. It's been 60 years, 60 plus years. And it took blacks 60 years to get where they are today. And it took the LGBTQ group
10 to 15.
6 years.
Okay.
To be at the same kind of level of being accepted. That you would think in 60 years, the African American, the black segment of our population would be in a far better place than they are, but they're still bitching and complaining about the same things they were bitching and complaining about 60 years ago. Just my little piece for Black History Month. History hasn't changed much.
I have no comment on this.
Well, I get it. I'm the racist. I get it, but I just find it interesting because I'm listening to this guy talk, and it's an African American talking about this whole thing, and he's very religious. I think that's where he draws a lot of his conclusions from his Christian religion, is that you can't accomplish moral goals if you're not a moral person.
Yeah.
And he is very clearly states that MLK was not a moral person.
Well, I look, I've never researched in depth
I
about
know.
Martin Luther King. I never
get
have.
that.
I've done some of
But now I'm going to have to
And now,
dive
I
deep
think
into
a
this
lot of
man's
people-
life. Thank you very much.
I think a lot of people haven't. And I
Right.
think if they actually did, they'd be
You'd be a little surprised.
shocked and surprised. And someone else was talking about, no one talked about the whole month, 28 days, however many 100,000 hours in February. No one talked about the first 12 African American politicians in this country were Republicans. That they cherry pick the history very.
Well, of course,
well,
man.
no, that's
I'm just
normal.
saying.
Yeah, this is how our society works.
But
Unfortunately,
as Morgan Freeman said, you stop racism by stop talking about it.
There you go. What a concept.
That was a great interview, Mike Wallace.
Yes.
You seen that, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I guess that was my 2 cents.
well, that's
But I mean, there's-
wonderful. I appreciate you sharing that.
There's some truth to it. I mean, I've done a little bit of research on it too because I've heard
Looking for the cross.
I've heard that too. I've heard that not from the gentleman that you're talking about, but just reading about it. That's why Hoover had an extensive file on him.
Who had extensive file?
I
Everybody.
fucking hate. You want to try to get John
But I
Lennon
mean,
deported like 5 times.
The conclusion that I came
LGBTQ.
to, yeah, dude. The conclusion I came to was he was a deviant.
Yeah.
Like undeniably a deviant.
No, I'm going to have to look into it.
And,
I don't
but I
know.
think he did. Yeah, listen, dude. Everybody has their.
We all have our demons. We all
Yeah.
have our
Well,
skeletons.
right.
And I'm not judging him based on
Yeah.
that. I think he meant well, but I also firmly 100% believe he was a plant.
Well, I said he really didn't. If you look at the overall benefit to the black race,
Right. Wait,
it wasn't there.
Wait, now, listen, wait.
There's
Okay, so-
duality in everything,
right.
Jeff,
Yeah,
right?
look at Gandhi. Remember Gandhi,
He
the guy
did
from
nothing-
India?
He did nothing for the black race.
No, listen, no. But Gandhi,
Another one that did nothing for the African Americans.
Right. But the problem with Gandhi, or not the problem. All right, Gandhi's a perfect example of a man who did amazing things, for his country, created the country. You know.
He was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say he was a piece of shit. Listen, let me
He
finish.
his wife.
Well,
Well, that was on the Hulk too. But.
He definitely couldn't keep it in his pants. He loved women. Gandhi loved women. That's a fact.
Hey,
He
walk around that
loved women.
diaper all day.
Yeah. So
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's
Right.
crazy you said this. So I listen to a radio show on Z100, Elvis Duran in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you guys have heard of his name. If not, popular show. His co-host, her name is Gandhi.
Oh.
That's Gandhi's great-granddaughter.
Oh, really?
She just said the same shit.
See, there you go. See,
Just saying.
He said he was a great man, but he loved women's.
and the reason I say that is because I did research into him. I know who he was, and I haven't done Martin Luther King, but now I'm
You
going
got
to.
to. Dude. There's some crazy shit. And like I said, man, like especially when you read the FBI files about him,
Yeah.
there's duality in everything, right? You got MLK, Malcolm X. MLK's good. He's light. Malcolm X, violent, bad.
But he was pious. I think he was.
I know.
So, meaning that he didn't have the same. Who was the guy that was in charge before Malcolm X looked up to him? There was a gentleman.
Not
Huh?
Farrakhan.
Was
no,
it?
It's
No,
part
no.
of the nation.
Yeah, and he
I
was.
know who you're talking about.
He was holier than hell, but he was banging everything that was left and right, young girls, everything. He was a really piece of shit. And when Malcolm X found out about it, he called him out for it. You know. So anyway, there's some history there. I know a little about that.
Elijah Muhammad.
Yes. Now that guy was a piece of shit.
And when I say Malcolm X was bad, I don't mean bad.
Right.
I'm just saying the duality of the way, the perception of the way that we're told to perceive it. But if you really do some research on good old Martin,
I had to order more of this shit.
Anything good?
I
That's what I was doing earlier.
didn't know they made Viagra at fucking 150 milligrams, Jack.
Well, you know, you get old.
It was 4 days.
Was that really Viagra?
Well, it's empty now. But yeah. It's not for me.
I was
It's
just
for a
talking
friend.
shit, dude.
It's for a friend,
I'm
Pete.
sorry. So HIPAA laws.
For a friend.
The kids found it. No wonder.
Jesus Christ.
No wonder Catter's been having some problems at school. Anyways, all right. I guess time we wrap this shit up.
Oh,
God. We are going down a bad place. Yeah, so next episode will be the 100th. We should probably do a little retrospect, talk about some things.
Yeah.
7 years in review, man.
We should send an email to the CIA to tell them to tune in.
I think they already are.
Oh no, they are, because there was that massive download.
It's a massive
Yeah, buddy,
download.
I heard that on the episode.
To Virginia.
Yeah.
Of all our episodes, like 77 went to Virginia. I'm like, oh, that can't be good.
Yep.
That could have been my brother, though. He was.
Well, it could be. Maybe. But we're international, man. India, New Guinea, New Zealand, New York, California, Germany, Ireland.
Ukraine.
I don't know if we got any in Ukraine.
I think we did.
Did
Russia or Ukraine, we got something, yeah.
Russia.
This is going back 2 years ago. I think we found we hit a bunch of hips there.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna get crucified.
Some-
because
some-
Russia's not all bad.
Some
man.
in South Africa.
That's
No,
my
they're not.
motherland right there.
No,
We're not
they're
all
not.
bad,
No.
dude.
There's ones in South Africa that got me. I'm like, who the fuck is listening to us in Mozambique? I don't know. But anyways. All right. That's all I got, Jeff Gang.
No, but Pete, you have
No,
anything?
hey, I just want to say thank you for having me. I just wanted to. This was interesting. I wanted to add my 2 cents real quick before we wrap it up about Black History Month. As a Slavic people, we are now recognized as people of color
Really?
by the Community Coalition of People of Color
Really?
of Oregon. So I just want to say, what's up, my niggas?
Of Oregon.
I appreciate you guys.
Good Lord.
Thank you.
I'm Slavic too, so I guess I'm.
Oh, not of Oregon, Portland.
Portland.
There you go.
Yeah, we're
Oh no, yeah, Portland. Yeah, shit.
Walmart's left. Starbucks is left. They're just fucking.
Yeah, man, and
The Slovak
hippie-
nation is fucking
Slovak
forced
Nation,
Walmart
we're out
out.
here, dude. We're out here in droves, dude.
Hippie Love Fest Spaghetti Dinner Festival. Anyways, this is Let's Talk It All.
And what
www.letstalkitall.com.
Yes.
And we are 100% right.
50%.
50% of
50%
the
of the time. Or more. I think we're a little above 50% of the time.
Huh.
It just may take a few years to catch up to us.
That's right.
But folks, thanks for joining in. Petey, good
Thank
safe trip on the way back.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
having me. I appreciate it.